Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Q&A video of the week. And today is going to be a very interesting Q&A uh, because I had a very interesting question. So why don't we not waste time and get to the question? And the questions are pretty much right here in my phone. So the very first question that many of you asked. So what happens in the 60s? That's going to repeat because in my last video or last Q&A video, I talked about 60s are back. Okay, and that's specifically because of the transit of Rahu Ketu and Jupiter Saturn being retrograde. You know, where the whole idea of protesting comes in because when Saturn and Jupiter together are being retrograde, the masses rebel against authority. Whether it's for right or for wrong, doesn't matter. They rebel against authority. So I already mentioned that a month ago, a month and a half ago. But if you look in the 60s, what happened? The whole, movement happened for, finding freedom for African American folks. And it wasn't the freedom, it was more about segregation. Because, they weren't allowed. Like white people had separate restaurants, black people had separate restaurants, separate bathrooms. They fought for that, and it became one. The other thing that happened was Vietnam War. A war occurred. Same thing, India-China conflict also happened in the 60s. We went to the moon in the 60s. And what happened just now, just last month, or even beginning of this month, is that we finally went back to space from a US compound, which is a big step because we were using like Russian space shuttles costing us 4 times as more. And because of Elon Musk, we have now decreased that expense to the fraction of what it is. And it's much better, much newer. So this literally opens the door to even exploring the moon, Mars, all these other places. Okay, revolutions through music occurred in 60s. So many of the things that happened in the 60s is happening now. Now, one thing obviously that I don't know if it occurred was this whole thing of cancel culture. I don't know where it came from, why it's here, but I just can't make sense of it. It's like maybe I'm old now, but it's like without research, without actually looking into things, investigating things, calling people, the masses just rely on social media. It's like that social justice thing. They see something wrong and somebody posted something, it becomes viral. Okay, let's go with this agenda without knowing the context, without knowing the reason, without knowing the inner connected intricacies of why something was said or done. But they just want to, the whole group, especially of the young teenagers, 20s, going towards that mass exodus towards certain companies, certain individual. And the thing is, right, when I said when Jupiter entered Aquarius, this is going to become a backlash on such people who are doing such things. Because you got to remember, when anything you fight for, you go on Twitter, you comment on some politician, you comment on some celebrity who said something you don't agree with, you curse them out, all of that. Remember, all of that is registered. And in the future, that is going to become the pinnacle, the actual source point of whether I want to hire this person or not. Because all the things that people want to boycott and all of this, they will then realize that, you know what, it wasn't right to do this. Because nobody thinks anymore. Nobody, first of all, does independent thinking. Is exactly what is told, you do. What the masses tell you, you do, you follow. And this is going to become a bee sting. This is going to become a bee stings for masses of people, and especially, I would say, mass of people under 25 or 30. So be careful of what you're trying to, boycott, what you're trying to fight this whole Royer thing for, because when you don't know and you're just following something, you could be blindsided. But, you know, um, I just hope people find wisdom and do research before they say something. Research before you curse somebody, you know. So that's the main thing. The second big question was about Shushant Singh and him taking his own life. And you guys wanted to know everything about Shushant Singh's chart, the whole thing on nepotism. So first of all, I didn't even know who this guy was. I didn't until hundreds of you said, "Hey, he passed away. What's your thought on it?" I'm like, "Who's this guy?" Because I haven't watched a single movie from Bollywood since 2008. I haven't. But here's my thing with him. I will not, you know, use his passing away as ability to exploit him for my own gains. And as you know, I've stopped doing celebrity charts. But just think about it. What if his cousin, mother, father are searching on YouTube for something, they want to know something about astrology, and here it is, you know, discussing Shushant Singh's chart and exploiting him. Oh, he had this issue, and this happened, and that happened, and this was the type of person he was. It is so wrong. It is so wrong. So don't even bring his chart up. I don't even want to discuss it in personal, you know, my academy lessons. I rarely do like, you know, celebrity charts unless they were discussed before. But it's not fair to an individual. You can defend them, and it looks cheap. It looks cheap. It looks desperation for, you know, people's admirations and likes and comments. It's not right at all. So no, I will not say anything about that gentleman. And as far as the whole thing about, people were asking me, what are the combinations of nepotism? Like, it's like asking a DNA scientist, you know, what do you think an alien DNA would look like? I mean, the actual body of an alien to see their DNA. There are millions of combinations for everything. And in astrology, the only time you should discuss anything is when it has been researched and proven, and not just making stuff up as you go along. So that's not right. Now, one solution that I will give you regarding this whole nepotism thing, and this is a brilliant idea for any entrepreneur who's watching me, some brilliant Indian programmer who's watching me. Why don't the public of India create a form to publicly fund a movie? This should be the new thing. You want to watch this particular star? You want to have this director make a movie again? You want this writer to come up? You want this singer and this musician to make songs for a movie which they're not getting because of nepotism? Well, imagine if everybody just funded, let's say, a 50, 60 crore movie. Everybody just put in like 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees to funding their favorite movie that they want to watch. And then you let the director how they want to direct the actor, what story they want to use. You want to see a movie on some subject, and nobody in that enclosed space of Hollywood or Bollywood is doing it. Well, public funding, we want to watch a movie on this. And you select the writer, you select the director. That's how it should be now. And that cures the whole thing about nepotism. So instead of like blaming this person, that person, again, boycott this person, boycott that person. Guys, stop. Just think outside the box and create your own way. So whoever is this next Shushant Singh you want to see, and he's not coming up, create this platform of publicly funded movies. That means that's it. There's no more middleman. There are no more of scrutinies as nepotism. That's the biggest suggestion. So please do that. Maybe I can get my Ketu movie funded like that. Who knows? Then the next question is from Shivani Jadeja. Please, 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 please take it. What does it signify when someone has a Scorpio ascendant in D1, D9, D10 with Sun plus Mars conjunction common in all these three charts? Well, I'm just wondering if this particular conjunction is present in Scorpio or just in the chart. Because if it's just present in the chart, you will easily, it's easiest thing you will see. During Sun or Mars Dasha or Mars or Sun Dasha, in D9 it'll bring a relationship if you're single. It can get you married if you're single, regardless of where they're placed. They could be placed in 6th house, 8th house, 9th house, 12th house. They will bring something significant related to relationship and marriage, or something significant related to fortune. In D10, they will bring a promotion. They will bring a sudden major theme of career playing out. But when you have a Scorpio D1, D9, and D10, clearly shows major transformations will occur in a person's life. Major transformations. Whether it's a relationship, marriage, your overall life, and your obligation in society. So if you take the Samsa chart, for example, it's so funny. I was actually watching this one documentary on Netflix on, ex-porn stars. It's called Life After Porn. And it was fascinating, not because of the whole porn thing. I'm not 20-year-olds anymore. I wanted to actually know what happens after their life. And you would see like one big porn star suddenly finds Jesus and becomes this pastor. That's a transformation. One goes from being a porn star to a psychologist, getting a PhD. That's a complete transformation. And this is what it will bring. Constant transformation through these different aspects of your life. Now, whether it's for good or bad, you would then have to see the position of Ketu and Mars in all the chart, all these three major charts, how they're positioned. And you should be able to understand how to study Ketu, because Ketu will not give its own results. It'll give it the results of its dispositor. Okay. Then, the question is from Apple. What camera do you use so authentically beautiful? Okay. So I am using Blackmagic camera, Blackmagic 6K. And this is a complete manual camera. If you should see the rig that I have of this camera. I have a pull focus attached. I've got the whole mic setup attached. I have a gimbal with it. This is a manual camera. This is not like point and shoot like a normal DSLR or your cell phone. This is a cinema camera which requires knowledge of the of lighting, and if you don't have that, this would be the most difficult camera. For me, it was difficult for the first 2 days, but because I knew how to deal with lighting, how to deal with all the color schemes, and it's raw file. You've got to be able to edit a raw file, which is huge. 1 minute of raw file is equal to, I think, like 10 gigs of 1 minute. You know how much computer power you need? So I had to get a new computer for that. A separate computer that can actually edit these raw files. Then you got to do color grading because everything is just raw format. Like if you saw this particular footage right now, I'll show you this is how it looks like. This is raw. And then you have to color grade it. So yeah, that's the camera. But again, this camera is nothing. It's what you do with the camera. It's how you use it. It's what the composition is. It's what the lighting is. So yeah, but yeah, I'm happy to have this camera. Even though it's manual work for me, it took me 20 minutes to set this thing up every time I shoot a video. Then the next one is from Srevanas Rao. I want to know the effects of exalted Venus in Pisces in 12th house Revati and Jupiter is in 8th house Scorpio Jeshta. I have Sun in my first house with Ketu and I feel empty and everything feels shallow. Okay, so here's the thing with Venus, first of all, in the 12th house. This shows that in your past life you have finished your karma related to marriage. You have. There's no, see, exalted Venus doesn't mean that, person is going to get all the people and all the women in their life and you'll get the most beautiful person, get the most this and that. It actually simply shows you finish your karma for marriage. You don't need to worry about it. You want to get married? Sure, you can get it. But again, it's going to be this ocean of devotion. Hey, that's a new word. Copyright. Ocean of devotion. Because 12th house is devotion. Venus is devotion. Pisces is the sign of Jupiter, and Jupiter is aspecting Venus in your case. You're going to get a very, very devoted religious spouse. Somebody who's going to be in their own astral oblivial world that you will not be able to understand. You want that regular family life through your spouse, the regular interaction, regular dinners, it's not going to happen. And this is why the suffering comes in. Because you probably want this and it's not happening. And once you realize then the essence of astrology and Jyotish, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. See, once you realize that reality is not an illusion. You got to understand the world is not an illusion. World is simply an extension of the bigger reality. That's all it is. This world that you see right now around you, it's a percent of extension of actual reality out there. So once you understand these type of concepts, you're like, oh, marriage, what? Children, what? Career, money, failure? There's a bigger reality waiting for you once you die. Nowadays I look forward to it. But you have to be at that level of knowing things. That's when this whole fear goes away about everything. And then you were talking about Sun Ketu in the Lagna. Sun Ketu in the Lagna, obviously shows that, again, you have been a leader in your past life. And in this life, there's complete dissatisfaction from fame, leadership that comes in. Also with the Sun in the ascendant, you will see due to your father or work, you're going to have to shift multiple times. You have to move multiple times in your life. The other thing you will see is that your communication will always get you into trouble with your colleagues. Because sometimes you will say things like scissor. You will cut them completely and they will be offended by it. So, but there's a lot more to it if we know, many other things about the chart. Because some of these things may be really up high or really up low. Then the next one is from Sumanya. What combination or placement indicates armed forces and occupation in the chart? Well, first of all, armed forces is really controlled by Mars and Saturn. And especially nakshatras like Mula, Jyeshtha, Purvashada, Uttarashada, Magha. 6th house comes into play, 3rd house comes into play. And of course, they need to create a combination either with the Artha Lord, the planet that represents your money, with Dharma Lord that represents the path of the soul, and obviously your Sun has to be strong because Sun is the government. You have to be able to get the support of the government to become a soldier or a combat fighter in life. But again, it's like, this is not something I can just tell you in this one video. It could take 2 hours of different examples, different combinations. But this is like the most basic thing. And then obviously you have to see how the Dasamsha chart is. What is your obligation to society in Dasamsha? Is it to protect and fight? Like even in Revati Nakshatra, you will see, I've seen many soldiers and many veterans chart that I've done. They had prominent Revati in their chart. Revati is about protection, protecting. They were the shepherds and the herder, Shushant. So your job is going to be to protect. Then the other question is from Shweta. What happens when Venus and Mars in the 12,000 D9 chart in Dhanu Rashi, meaning Sagittarius? And if Venus is the Amatya Karka. So the whole Amatya Karka thing can't just be said just by looking at the Namansha chart and Venus is the Amatya Karka. You have to look at many things. What is the Amatya Karka doing in your birth chart? Where is the Amatya Karka from the most important, Where is the Amatya Karka from your Arudha Lagna and Karakamsha Lagna and Swamsa Lagna? Then we can see what is this Venus trying to do. But one thing I'll tell you that I have seen, and if it's true with you, do let me know. But Venus and Mars in the 12th house, especially in Sagittarius, which is a very fiery sign, can actually bring either sexual abuse, can bring, most definitely will bring a major heartbreak in a relationship, like pierce through. And especially it'll be caused due to the father of the native or your own father. But one thing we also see with this combination is that one can become extremely grounded in a single relationship to a point that you don't want to leave this person. If they have moved on and married, you will still chase them. You will still follow them. You will not marry anybody because this is the person that you wanted to be with and you lost them. Because remember, 12th house is devotion. You're completely devoted to the person who broke your heart. But there are many other things that we can say once we actually see that sign and nakshatra and what other aspects might be and what, Venus is doing in the birth chart. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my Q&A for this week. And next week, we're going to be doing Q&A from my Instagram. Okay. So anyway, guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. Hit the bell button. And if you need any reports, consultations, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.